Okay, I wanted to go live. Let me turn this down. Just a few minutes before. Hold on, guys. I think they should let you make a. Hold on. Hi. Making a pin. They need to give you the option to have titles on this thing. Do you know? I am live. Let's see. I'm gonna try this. I literally have so much in this thing. There we go. Until people come in, 5 minutes. I have decided. Hi. Ooh, hey cousin. Thank you for tuning in. Brittany Parker. This is Chronically Real. I don't know how I came up with this name. It was just like, well, you got to talk about the real things, you know? So I was like, okay. So just letting people come in now. 5:30 is the time. I will be introducing the wonderful and beautiful Miss Marlo a little bit after 5:30, but I just wanted to let you guys come in and chill with your girl. I need like a little backdrop or something, right? So I was kind of listening to some music, getting ready for this Erykah Badu and Jill Scott versus that's gonna be coming up. Hello, like what's going on? Let me see. We are going live. Let me let everybody know. Oh shoot, did I do that right? Did I send that to anybody? Like I was saying, who is ready? Send me some hearts if you guys are like ready for this Erykah Badu and Jill Scott versus, because I'm ready. Like I'm getting an outfit, I'm getting a new head wrap. We're gonna do this. Like that's exactly how I feel. Like I'm so excited. So I was just like, this is crazy. Like what am I doing? Like we've been watching all the verses and stuff. Anyway, that's not even the topic. That's not even supposed to be the topic. Just like I said, 5:30 we will be going completely live with this whole interview, Chronically Real, so you know what it is to know someone or what lupus is really about. It is Lupus Awareness Month. May is Lupus Awareness Month. I wish I had a purple head wrap, but maybe next week. I really am kind of surprised that I haven't invested in one. It's kind of weird. But if you know someone with lupus, if you know anybody that may have it, may fear of it, or any autoimmune disease, what you guys have to realize is that autoimmune disease is so real. It is so life-changing, and a lot of people don't really understand it. So we're gonna talk about it, but I'm not gonna keep telling my story. I don't want to keep telling my story. I don't want to keep telling y'all about what I've gone through, even though it's very life-changing and it's very life-changing. I never want anybody to go through that. Definitely want to share some of the most amazing, some of the most beautiful women that I've come across in this world, on Instagram, in social media, in life, that have the disease, because we're all going through something different. And that's the thing about it. With lupus, almost every case is different. I can't tell the next person that they're feeling this way, but I get what they feel. So I definitely wanted to tap into other women and ask them to come and chill with me and tell me their story. So like I said, in about 5 minutes I will be inviting on the beautiful Miss Marlo, aka Chronically Wired, and she will be sharing her story about her diagnosis with lupus and what she went through. But first, you know your girl always got to do some type of promo. I don't know about you, but just a little snippet before we go into everything. I was going through a lot, okay? These past couple of months, as you know, I lost my mom. It's been just insane for me emotionally, which takes a toll on me physically. And the lupus on top of that has been just like bonkers, like real talk. So I have been like, okay, I'm gonna get something to help me. CBD, I can't or no longer smoke marijuana, so something has to give. Prescription meds, taking painkillers, whatever it is like it can only go so far and it can only do so much. And my goal in life is to go the holistic route. So I was like, I'm with TLC. We do our thing. The company is lit. If you have not gotten involved, you're missing out. But, that's neither here nor there. I went and I ordered the Harmony Drops because they're supposed to help you relax. There you go. And they're purple. It's a purple box. The Harmony Drops, it does have CBD, full spectrum hemp extract. I took some earlier because I just wanted to have a kind of cool, calm, collected mental clarity, field today. So, I went ahead and grabbed these. They came in the mail. I was so happy. I was like, thank you, Lord. Might be able to go to sleep tonight. So, comes like this. Take a tincture. Put it under your tongue for 30 seconds, let it get all in there, dance all up in there, and you're good to go. So, of course, gets in your bloodstream, all that jazz. Very excited about that. I just, natural things, It just is what it is. So, with all of that said, like I said, check out some of the products. You can go on my website, you can go on my page and see, sorry, I'm getting like both of my phones, and see about these drops. I'm definitely getting anything that's gonna calm me down and do all that jazz because your girl, this quarantine, it's doing a lot. It's taking a toll on your girl. So, and tell me if it has for you too, please. Tell me in the comments because yeah. So, with all of that said, I definitely want to see if we can get Miss Marlo, aka Chronically Wired, here for the interview. Chronically Real. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and let's do this. Let me see. This is my first time doing this, so bear with your girl. We're gonna try to go live with somebody. Bam. Let's see, it's connected.
Hi.
Okay, let me make sure I can hear you.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, I had to turn mine up. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
It's a little warm.
I know. And it's not good when you have lupus.
I know. Oh my gosh, swelling and just the whole nine. It's just like, oh my gosh. So how are you doing today?
Good. Just a little tired. Like with the heat, it makes me swell.
Yeah.
And I get exhausted, but I'm good. I'm here. I'm alive.
Okay. And it worked out. So like you were saying earlier, like it would be really cool if they could do the whole computer thing. Because that would change the game.
Yes.
So you could tell everybody, who you are, where you're from, and then we can get into your diagnosis. Tell them, because you told me you have more than lupus. So if you could tell them about that.
Okay. Well, I'm Marlo. Hi, everybody. I have lupus. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2000, but I think I was always born with it. Yeah, I think I've always had it. Sorry. And because when I was younger, my mom said I would always be in and out of the hospital. I'd be running random fevers. The doctors never knew why.
Wow.
And because they had no really research on lupus or wasn't familiar with lupus, they would just start labeling me with these random things. Like one time I was labeled with valley fever. Another one was they tried to tell me it was in my head that I
Yeah.
was, you know, and yeah, they told me that because when I was a baby, I'd run random fevers and my mom would have to rush me to the hospital. And they told her that I was just spoiled and needed my mom. Every time my mom was gone, I'd run a fever, which makes no
Wow.
sense. I know. So they didn't know what they were dealing with. So they would just label me with all these things. And I remember my 10th grade year of high school, I ended up missing my whole semester of the first year in high school because I was really sick and had to be homeschooled. And again, they didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't get a diagnosis until 2000. I was going through a hard time in 2000. I went through a divorce. I had flew to North Carolina for a job training, and it was very, very intense. So I was afraid to fly. When I came home, I woke up the next morning with my leg numb, and I played soccer. So I thought, maybe I must have pulled a muscle or something, but it just spread down my leg and came up my other leg. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not a pulled muscle. There's something more going on. And all of a sudden it just started to burn. It started to burn like if I had 3-degree burns all over my body. I could not move. I couldn't, I was bedridden for 3 months. I couldn't move my hands. I couldn't even wipe myself to go to the bathroom, couldn't comb my kids' hair. I just laid in bed for 3 months. Then my mom had ran into some people who were selling, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Niken. It's magnetic therapy. They give you like, they'll come and they'll bring you like, it's a mattress topper that has magnets in it. They have a pillow, they have infrared blankets, they had the jewelry of the magnets. And what it makes sense too, what they said about it is that when you use the magnets, we're all full of energy, and you know, our blood has iron in it. So the magnets help circulate the bloods to where you are hurting and help heal that part of your body. So being bedridden for 3 months, I couldn't even walk from my room to the bathroom. When they brought the stuff for me to try it, they told my mom, we'll come, we'll leave it with you guys. You sleep on it, stay on it for a week. If it helps, that's great. You can purchase it. If not, we just come pick it up and, you know, move on. We're not pressuring you. So like, what do we have to lose? Right. So we went ahead and we did it. And the first night I was on it, the next day my parents, they always wake up and walk to McDonald's. It's probably like 2 miles away from our house. The next day I woke up and I just had like all this energy. I told my parents, hey, I want to walk with you. And they're like, what? You know, you couldn't even get out of bed. So they were really shocked that it really helped. And it was that quick. And from there, I just started to get better. And during that time when they were testing me for everything. Everything kept coming back negative. And I was like, okay, what is going on? I can't move. I'm in so much pain. I really thought I was going crazy because the pain just never went away for 3 months. It's just excruciating pain. And he's like, you know what? After he did all the testing, he's like, you know what? Let me go down your history again. So when he started to review my history and he mentioned lupus, I was like, you know, a cousin of mine just got diagnosed with that. I think that's what she said she had. So he's like, you know what, let me look at that. So when he started to look at my symptoms and look at, you know, lupus, he's like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and diagnose you with lupus. He's like, you know, 10% of women test negative, even though they are positive. So I'm going to treat you like you have lupus. So once he started doing that, I started to get better on top of the magnets and stuff. So fast forward 5 years, I started testing positive for lupus. But in the beginning, it was negative, negative, negative. And when I feel my worst is when my blood work looks the best. And when I feel my best, it's the worst. So then when I was fine, all of a sudden I tested positive for lupus.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had to tell everybody's story is different. Like,
yes.
Sure. The whole like testing for everything that happened to me as well. Like I completely understand it was like a miss, you know? And my stepfather was like, look, you guys need to test her for lupus. And it's the same thing. You have to catch it, or you have to, it's really like a nooks and cranny type of thing.
Right.
So, you know, it definitely takes over your life, but
it did. It did.
You know, so, okay. So your parents knew, like you were saying, right? But how did you explain it to like family, like other family that couldn't grasp, you know, or couldn't really understand? Because that's one kind of like thing that's hard, is trying to explain to family, you know, I have this chronic illness, because you don't look sick, and we'll get into that later. But how did you explain to family, like, look, I'm sick?
Yeah. Well, my family saw me in bed, you know, bedridden for the 3 months in so much pain. And it was heart wrenching because my mom would sit by my bedside crying. And she basically hired somebody to take over my life. They would come pick up my kids from school. Actually, they moved in with us. They'd take my kids to school, get them ready in the morning, take them to school. All I did was lay in bed and cry. That's all I could do. And she basically took over, you know, my life. Right. And it was heart-wrenching that my mom would sit by my bedside and cry and say, you know, if you have to go, go, you know, that the kids will be okay. And I'm a giver. So to see her hurting for me, I think that hurt me more than my physical pain.
Right.
And then seeing my kids where I couldn't hold them, they were little. I couldn't brush my daughter's hair. I couldn't hug them. They couldn't even come in the room, because if they opened the door and the brush of air that came in would hurt so bad. So they couldn't even come in. Yeah, so it was hard, but like I said, seeing them hurt more for me was worse than the actual pain.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And having children, oh, I have a son, he's 11, and that's the hard part, because mentally you begin to, everything is torn. You know, it's over, I can't do this with him or them or whatever it is, and it just, that takes a toll on you. And I completely understand, like that. It's so real, because you want to be at all the games, you want to take them to all of the parties, you want to pick them up every day from school, you want to be a part of homework or whatever it is. So my goodness, and for you to be in the bed for 3 months in pain, like, I'm just
Yeah.
you know, that is, oh gosh,
Yeah.
Wow. So
yeah, back to your question, my family saw me go through that, so I didn't have to explain. But one thing that my sister, when I started to feel better and coming around and doing more, and since my diagnosis, my sister would be, oh no, Marlo can't do that, she has lupus. Oh no, Marlo can't do that, you know. And I used to tell her, don't treat me like that. Like, you know, I'm alive. If you start to treat me like that, I'm going to fall into that role and then, you know, wither away. I don't, you know, just, I can do it. If I can't, I'll let you know. Yeah. So I established that from the get-go. But because I always did for everybody, going, coming here, party this, put this together, put that together, that was me. When I couldn't attend events anymore, you know, the spoon theory, I had sent it out to my family. You know, because they would understand, well, you went to this event, how come you can't come to this one? Or how come you could, you know, do this? So when I sent out the spoon theory, everyone, they got it. My brother would text me, you know, I'm having a party for this and this. How many spoons do you have? You know, so they got it. Yeah. My family's great.
That's awesome. So I wanted to explain the spoon theory to everyone that's watching. So basically, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's definitely something that, I mean, I don't really use. I just tell people, no, they just leave me alone. No. But no, the spoon theory is basically, it's like, how much energy do we have? How much, you know, put out do we really have? So every day our spoons kind of, you know, restart. We get up in the morning and we might have 10 spoons. Say we have 10 spoons. That's 10 fingers, I guess. And we get up and maybe we are already exhausted when we get up. So that means, okay, we got 9 spoons or we got 7 spoons. So it's our energy, it's our mood, it's just like everything. If we're in pain and we take away a spoon or 2, you know, each time. So when we are going through something, you say, hey, you know, how many spoons do you have? That means, you know, are you able to make it? Do
you have the energy?
Yeah. So just so you guys know, and that's some really good education for lupus and lupus awareness, because if you know somebody out there with lupus, then you guys will know now, okay, I know about the spoon theory. So that's so real though, my goodness. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah, so the hardest person or people to tell was pretty much your kids and your mom, and well, your children, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, they didn't understand what was going on. It's like, here's this mom that was so active before, and now she's in bed.
Right.
Can't,
Right.
you know, my son, I think he was in preschool, and my
Oh,
daughter was in, I don't know, maybe second, third grade. So they didn't understand. Here mom is being room mom. I was a very active mom with them, and here I can't do anything anymore. So my
right.
daughter kind of took it hard. My son just didn't understand what was going on. So when my mom, like I said, cried at my bedside telling me to go, it just hurt me to think that my daughter, I'd be a faint memory, and my son, he wouldn't even know me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think knowing that pushed me harder to get through it all. So,
Wow.
yeah, so my family is amazing though. So they've been really supportive from day one.
Well, that's amazing. So now you're up and you're moving
Yeah.
and everything is all good. So are there any specific treatments that helped you get to this point? Or was it a mental thing for you? What happened?
Well, that was the beginning of my story.
Okay. Okay.
I went very well for maybe 5 years. And because I was bedridden for that long, when I was laying in bed, I missed running. I missed feeling the grass on my toes, the sand on my toes,
Yeah.
kicking a soccer ball. I played soccer growing up. So I missed all that. So when I got better, I took full advantage of life. I was playing on 2 soccer teams. I was working more than 40 hours a week, a single parent. I was traveling with my kids. And in 2009, I was training for a marathon and played on the 2 soccer teams, and I caught pneumonia. So when I caught pneumonia, yeah, lupus came back with a vengeance. And every drug they gave me, I get the serious number of side effect from and end up worse. Like prednisone deteriorated my bones, so I have problems with my spine now and my knees and most of my joints from it. Excuse me.
Prednisone.
Yes, the devil's drug. It's like
God.
necessary evil.
Yeah.
I had blown up. I'm short, so I had blown up to over 200 pounds from prednisone. At one point, I was like on 60 milligrams of prednisone daily, so for several months. So just doing that, I had the moon phase. I was growing hair on the side of my face.
Oh my gosh.
I was over 200 pounds. Yeah, it was to go from being skinny and active to blowing up that big. It was. I don't want to, it was a mind F for me that I couldn't see myself. It's like, I'm looking in the mirror, like, who is this person? That's not me.
Right.
Now I'm stuck in bed again and can't do anything. So when they started giving me all these different drugs to do, they gave me methotrexate. I lost my uterus with that one. They gave me, Imuran was the worst one that I had. I was on morphine 3 times a day. 60 milligrams 3 times a day with morphine, and it did absolutely nothing again for the pain. My tolerance just kept getting higher and higher. Imuran I had severe pancreatitis from, and it took 3 months for them to diagnose me with pancreatitis, and I ended up in the hospital for 3 months, and I couldn't eat for 8 months, and I had to come home on a home IV PICC line because I couldn't eat. The only treatment for pancreatitis is to rest the gut. So every drug they gave me, I was getting severe reactions and ending up in the hospital and worse. So for the first 5 to 6 years, I was just in bed crying. And then I'd go to the doctors, and I have Kaiser. I would go and explain to one doctor what was going on. He'd refer me to another doctor, and then I'd have to tell them all over again what was going on with me. And then they'd send me to another doctor because they're like, I don't know why they sent you here. You need to go here. And it got to a point when I would go to the doctor, I would just cry when I would tell my story because I felt like no one was listening. I'm in so much pain. These drugs are making me worse. I was on, what's that one? Neurontin that totally changed my mood. I'm usually a happy, bubbly person, and this made me so angry and upset that I didn't even like myself. It's like I wanted to peel my skin off. And when I called the doctor and told her how this drug is altering my personality, she's like, oh no, you need to get off of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, every drug, it was just bad. Yeah. I finally had to see, how am I going to get out of this? And what I tell everybody, the first thing that I did was change my thinking. I had to change my thoughts from all this negative, why is this happening to me, to what can I learn from this and how can I get better? And once I started doing that on every aspect of my life, and every negative thought that came in my head, I would switch it. I started to feel better. But when I started to feel better, then I started, okay, let me change my diet. Started changing my diet and eating better and healthier. And that's when it just started to come full circle, and I started to feel a lot better.
Yes.
And I started trying to wean myself off of these drugs. And then I had this friend who saw me go through all this, and he's like, you know what? You need to just get off all the drugs. He's like, you know, that's going to end up hurting you. And I said, I know, I feel like, pick your poison. Am I going to die of the drugs or die of the disease? You know, which one is worse?
Yeah.
So he's like, you know, you need to just dump all that and use crystals. And I was like, crystals? Because I've never heard of it before. I was like, crystals? What? Crystal meth? And
you're like, whoa.
I know. He was like, no. He was like, crystals.
Slow down.
They have healing energies in them. And I was like, what? Really? So I started Googling what crystals help for what elements that I was suffering from. And I would use them or place them or meditate with them. And it really helped. So I ended up getting off of majority of all of my medicine except one. I do the infusions every 6 months. But that one I'm hoping I don't have to do anymore.
Now, what's the name
the
of those?
Rituxan?
The Rituxan. Okay.
I do the Rituxan. Yeah.
Okay, because I know about Benlysta. I've never done an infusion.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, my stepsister has lupus, and she was diagnosed at 16.
Oh, wow.
And she's done a few different trials, but I know that she's done Benlysta, and they wanted me to do it. They keep sending me stuff in the mail, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure yet, because I'm really trying to go a holistic route. Yeah,
my
but
doctor had offered Benlysta.
Really?
This next time around, yeah, for when my next. But like I said, I'm trying to not do anything at all. But the only thing I'll have to say with Benlysta, when they did the study for Benlysta, it was majority done. The majority was done on Caucasians. So it doesn't really work well for Hispanics and African American or Asian. It works more for Caucasians. Yeah, they didn't really do the study on the minorities.
But the minorities who it affects the most, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I know.
That's interesting. So, wow. Okay, so that leads into your company and these bath bombs. I got to get my hands on some.
Gosh, they saved my life, really.
Okay, so tell me about it. I mean, tell us all about it. I definitely, they look like they smell so good.
Oh, yeah, they do. I'll send you one. Well, how I got into the company was, okay, back it up. When I was going through that depression and stuff, the second time I got sick, I didn't want my family to know because, like I said, it hurt me to watch them. So I tried to take it on myself. Right. I was living by myself, me and my son. My daughter was grown and already moved out with her boyfriend. So it was me and him, and I would just be in bed. I was on disability. I'd stay in bed crying most of the time in so much pain that I felt guilty because my son had to pretty much raise himself. And sorry, that's another thing is brain fog.
Yeah.
At our train of thought.
I got my notes. I'm not shaking.
Yeah. So when I was sick and in bed, I was going through depression because I didn't want to tell my family what I was going through. They knew I was sick and on disability again, but they didn't know to what extent. The first time I got sick, I lived with them, so they saw it on a daily basis. This time, we were on our own, and they didn't know to what extent I was sick, and that played a lot of mind games with me too. And I used to think I wanted to look for a support group and find other people who could understand what I was going through, but I couldn't find any. And the one that I did find was in the Valley, and it was more cliquish. So I felt, so uncomfortable. It's like, I don't even know why. It felt worse when I left than when I first got there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I remember laying in bed really sick and depressed and upset. And like I said, I'm not a depressed person, so it was really weighing on me. I swore that I would always start my own support group. Everyone would be welcome. I didn't want anyone to feel the way I was feeling. Yeah. So 5-6 years ago, I did just that. I started my own support group in my own town, and for all autoimmune diseases. Okay. So having this support group, I was with one of our members in the emergency room till like 3 a.m. And when I called her the next day to see how she was doing. She was up baking. And I'm like, what are you doing? You should be in bed resting. We were just in the ER till 3 a.m. And she said that she has to bake at least $1,000 a month just to survive because, you know, disability doesn't pay enough for her to live on. She'd be homeless if she didn't do that. So what I had did was I had put together a comedy show, and I had raised enough money to pay 1 month's rent for her, that if she wanted to take a day off and rest, she could. She didn't have to be up baking.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah. But because I'm the only one that's doing this, it took a lot out of me to put. I didn't know how stressful and what all went into to do an event like that.
Right.
So, yeah, it was just,
and living with lupus, like, that's a whole nother game. Like,
yes, exactly. So it took a lot out of me to do. I wanted to hold a whole bunch of different comedy shows throughout the year so I can have this pot that if anybody needed help, I could help them. Right. But that one event, I was like, nope, I can't do it. I'm done.
Yeah.
So I just did that one. Then I started getting more into crystals, and I had found this wire wrap class. So I told my friend, hey, let's go, you know, learn how to wire wrap crystals. And he's like, okay. So we went. And when we were doing it, he's like, you know, Marlo, this is what you can do instead of the comedy shows, you know, sell the crystals, and that's how you can make your money to help people. And I was like, oh, you know what, that's a good idea. So last year I ended up starting our company, Chronically Wired, and I started making the wire wrap jewelry and selling it, going to events and selling it. Well, I had met this one lady who is in the weed industry, and she massages people with the CBD oil, and she's so amazing. I started to meet other people through her and going to weed events and joining other people, and they had told me, why don't you make your own? So I started to make my own products. I started making, you know, my own muscle rub, my own bath bombs, my own weed stuff. When I was sick, I always wanted to try it, but it's just so expensive. And especially at dispensaries, you're just paying an arm and a leg. And on disability, I can't afford that.
Right,
so I couldn't really use it the way I wanted to. So with my company, again, I sell it affordable. So I think everyone should have the opportunity to have holistic medicine rather than these other drugs.
Right.
And so that's why I sell it affordable. And also people who can't afford, I will give them, you know, free products to try to see if they can help them get through their flares or whatever they're suffering, the elements that they're suffering from. But
that's awesome.
That's how I got started. And then now my company helps pay bills for people who are on disability. So I help, I help pay medical bills, rent, food. I've sent groceries, you know, to people who are far away. I've done a lot of that with the money. So if anyone purchases from my company, it's going to a good cause.
That is amazing, Marlo. Oh my goodness. I'm like, you're giving me more than I bargained for. Just like, seriously. I'm like, I'm so excited to speak with you. And then I'm like, wait, she's doing all these amazing things. This is crazy.
Thank you.
But, you know, I think that, you know, like you said, the mind games that Lupus plays with you as far as you'll never be able to do certain things again, and it tries to switch everything.
Yes.
And like you said, you started changing those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. It's a fight. That's a battle within itself, because you have to want to do that, and you have to make that choice. And once you see that it starts to change your life and, you know, switch things around in your life, you're like, okay, now it's time. You want to get on the battlefield. So I really thank you so much and commend you. And, you know, you're such a blessing, because it's hard out here. It's hard out here for
hard.
You know, women with children, single women, you know, even married women with lupus. I mean, any way that you are and you have this illness, it's not an easy thing to live with. And it being different for everyone, we can all relate to one another, but so I was going to ask you a funny little question.
Sure.
Or maybe your answer to this question when you get it, whether it be in your head or out loud. When people say to you, well, you don't look sick, what is your response?
I know, especially when you're on prednisone, you gain all this weight, you have these rosy cheeks, you look
Right.
healthy, you know, you don't look
Right.
sick. It's not like cancer where you look skinny, your face is sunken in, you have dark circles.
Right.
It's not like that.
Right. Right.
I really don't entertain that anymore. You know, when they say I don't look sick, I've heard it for so long, for
Right.
so many years, that at first it used to bother me and I used to get upset. Now it's like, you know what? I don't even, I'll take that time to educate them on what
Right.
lupus looks like. But yeah, it doesn't affect me anymore like it used to.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. And I mean, I've gone through the whole thing and I'd be like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Or, dang, you look good for being sick or something. I'm just like, okay, thanks. Like, it's just,
I've
but
even
I
had family
totally,
members tell my mom, "Oh, Marlo's not sick." And my mom's like, "Well, you know what? If it wasn't that I've seen her blood work and it wasn't that I took her to chemo, you know, maybe I'd believe you. But if
right.
I choose not to wallow in that role, you know, I want to be active and do things. And I'm not the same Marlo I was before all of this, you know, and that's the thing that a lot of people have issues with is re-identifying themselves.
Right. Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and to make it a positive thing, you know, I've met such amazing people on this journey that I've been through, advocating for lupus. I've met a lot of wonderful people, and if I wasn't sick I would have never met them, you know.
Right.
So to me it's like a blessing in disguise. Yes, it's her, it, you know, it's um again, there goes the brain fog. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
I
tell
got
people
you.
it's like an etch a sketch. I have everything on there. All of a sudden somebody just cleared it and
Clears
everything's
it
gone.
off, right? And you're like, wait, where'd I go with this? I got you. Don't worry. Yeah. But oh my gosh. I've learned to let that go. And like you said, the education part, they ask, well, how do you feel? And I'm like, I feel good, but let me tell you, you know what I mean? And you do have to educate your family, your friends, strangers, and everything like that. It's funny because like my son, he was there for the whole thing, the entire diagnosis, from every hospital visit, seeing me lose my hair, just of the
Mm-hmm.
whole nine. And so he'd be like, yeah, my mom has lupus and she wears a wig, and I'm just like, okay, they don't even know us, Caleb. Like, just don't worry about telling them that. But and they'd be like,
How old
oh
is he?
really? And they're like, you look good, look. And I'm just like, see, then we have to open that door. It's just so funny. But I definitely know that, educating, especially just the people around you and people in general, is so necessary. So I'm so happy May is Lupus Awareness Month because this is so necessary.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, how are you doing this quarantine?
Actually, you know what? That's what I teased my mom and I said, you know, I've been quarantined for 7 years, that this doesn't affect me.
Right?
Like my
No
poor
different.
son, all his junior high now, high school years, he just remembers me, you know, laying in bed. And
Yeah.
I was like, really? You don't remember the trips that we used to go on before I got sick? He doesn't remember any of that. He just remembers me
Oh,
lying in bed. So I told her, with this quarantine, I was quarantined for 7 years. This really doesn't bother
what's
me.
new? I know. Oh my gosh, I know. It's so funny because I said the same thing. I'm like, my first year of diagnosis, I literally had no phone contact. I was
Mm-hmm.
only around my mom and anybody in my house, really, sometimes my family, but I didn't talk to anyone or see anyone for a year. So I was like, kind of been there. I'm worried about everybody else, But as far as like the whole immune system thing, just trying to keep the immune system boosted. Is there anything that you do? Is like, do you like taking teas or supplements and stuff like that to keep yourself together? Because it's definitely something that we have to be extra defensive on.
Well, the thing that I do know is I'm very vitamin D deficient because
Right.
with lupus, you know, we can't be out in the sun,
Right.
and that's where we get our vitamin D from, most of it, anyways. So I have to take 5,000 units of vitamin D once a week, and then 30 every other day. 30,000 every other day.
Wow.
Yeah, I take a lot. Um, I do fish oil. I do ashwagandha. I do
Okay.
what else do I do? I can't even think of all what I do. But yeah, I started researching what helps. I at first I was doing the stuff that boosts your immune system,
Hmm.
but I was getting really sick, and I went to the doctor telling him I'm doing this, this, and this, and he's like, no, he goes, I can't, again, my brain, it's not working today.
It's okay, we're here.
Yeah. He would tell me, no, you're defeating the purpose. You know, your lupus, you have an overactive immune system. So we're giving you these drugs to lower your immune system.
Right.
And here I thought, okay, well, maybe it's because, I thought it was because I had a low immune system. That's why I was feeling sick. So I was taking all these immune boosters, and he's like, no, don't take any of those anymore. So I had to learn what helps and what doesn't help. You know, what's not good for lupus. What's good for other people with autoimmune disease is not good for people with lupus.
Right.
And I do the turmeric. That's another one I do, is a turmeric. And the turmeric, and well, I know you can't have garlic, and I loved garlic. So garlic. Yeah.
I think a little garlic in. I don't know why. I mean, how do you make like good Italian food without garlic?
I know. So
what's going on?
And then, you know, I have to pick and choose what is worth getting sick over. Like being in the sun. We went on a family trip to Bora Bora last year. So it's like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll come home and be sick all you want, but this week, yeah, this week I'm gonna have fun in the sun, and I sure did.
Oh
and
my
paid
God.
for it
I
later.
do not blame you.
Yeah,
I don't blame you one bit. Like that, yeah. Bora Bora, please. If they were like, "You ready?" I'd be like, "Yes."
Right.
Let me get everything I need.
I know.
How much sunscreen do I need?
I know. My doctor was like, better not be out in the sun. I was like, okay, with my fingers crossed.
Right.
But she knew I was gonna go in the sun.
Have a good time. And that's one thing, it's definitely hard, especially living here in California. You know what I mean? Like, it's sunny 99% of the time. So it's like,
we have to hide from the sun. Umbrellas, hats, you know?
Yeah, so, but, you know, saying that, just like my girlfriends, they just said, tell her about the NutriBurst. That's one way that I've newly been defending and helping my immune system, which is like, it's a capsule that I take every day and knock it back in the morning, and it has all the vitamins in it. And like, I literally, it's helped me. And I didn't think that, you know,
it would
help. Not saying it would, but I didn't think it would help me. But, you know, us living with this autoimmune disease, it's like, nothing works. You know, they think they make you feel like nothing works. Especially in, you know, the holistic and natural industry. Our doctors, they want us to be on these pills and everything. It was like, as soon as I got into taking this liquid vitamin, it's helped me. And I'm just like, wow, like this season of my life, I'm listening to my doctors, but you know, it's like I have to kind of be like, I have to be an advocate for myself, you know. And that's one thing I think with this illness is like I said, everybody's so different that we have to be advocates. And when those people can around you can really say, you know, I testify, you know, you really have to push that. So with all that being said, my last question is, if you could tell everyone out there, just like sum it up, one thing about lupus for Lupus Awareness Month, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. But for people with lupus or
without lupus,
to
make them aware.
Just because we look good doesn't mean that we're not sick. You know, that's the number one thing. You know, I've had the police called on me for parking in the handicap because I'm young and don't look sick. I've had
testify.
Yes. And I also got to learn, you know, when people ask you, how are you feeling or how are you today? They really don't want to know. They're just being polite. So I always respond, I'm still here, you know, because when you start to tell them how you really feel, they really don't want to know.
Right. Oh my gosh. Because they're asking for a lot when they ask that question. And it's like, do I really tell them or do I just... But I completely understand. So, okay, we're going to conclude this interview here. I just thank you so much, Marlo. Thank you. I can't wait to get my hands on some of those bath bombs, literally. Oh, my gosh.
And, you know, also do the muscle rub. And what's really good about my muscle rub, I don't know if you're familiar with capsicum or capsaicin. It's the seeds in the red chili pepper. It's an anti-inflammatory. Wow. So that brings down inflammation while the CBD helps with the pain. So wow. Yeah, I use it religiously. Like I had a tweaked neck this morning where I couldn't even turn my head. So right. I rubbed some on my neck and now I could, you know, turn my head.
And you got it on deck. Like,
yes. Yep, I sure do.
That is awesome. Well,
I thank you a little bit of that too.
Thank you. I thank you so much for your time and your story and just sharing with us, you know, how chronically real lupus is and how it affects your life and but how you're overcoming it. So we're here. Thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in. Please follow Miss Marlo at chronically_wired, right?
Yes.
Right here on Instagram. Check out her products and just support her movements. I thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
And I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.